All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. So,
good morning, Bill.
I think Peter's with me. Yep, there you go. The computer's doing some funny things. We're on episode number 313, Peter. 313.
Holy moly!
What was the address of what was it? Herman Munster. Was it 313? 31 Mockingbird Lane.
I didn't know that was a thing. I never noticed that part.
Yeah, 313 Mockingbird Lane. I think it was. I don't know, something like that. Anyways, man. I don't know why that just popped in my head. The title for today's podcast is Creative Real Estate System Secrets for Fast Rookie Gargantuan Profits. Huh.
Bill, if you tell them the secrets, it won't be a secret anymore.
Yeah, I know. I've been telling secrets for 313 podcasts. So here we go.
Cat's out of the bag.
Excuse me. So here's the description. You are probably listening to this podcast today because you are either unhappy with your current income source or disappointed in the lack of real estate profits you now receive. Today's podcast could be which, by the way, that's the reason why I wrote this, because I'm unhappy with my current real estate profits. So I decided to write this because if I'm having trouble with it, so is everybody else. All right. Today's podcast.
He protests too loudly, methinks.
Yes. Today's podcast could be the single most important secret you could ever learn about creative real estate profits. And if you listen and think you already know it, with lower income than you desire, well, all I can say is the first barrier to learning is thinking you already know it. So if that is you, don't listen today. This is not for you. This one obvious secret system is the root of all success for gargantuan profits in creative real estate to date. Grasping it without thinking you already know it is the single difference between success and failure. How do I know this? Even I lose sight of what we are about to cover and watch my profits go down, and I struggle. So if you want to get out of your rut and be ready for one of the best markets, real estate markets, to hit our country, this one episode is a must.
I'm listening.
So before we start, we got to do all the things that we're supposed, what we call housekeeping. So there is a link
in the house.
Yes, there is a link in the chat that you will be very pleased with. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
No, it's in the description.
I'm sorry, in the description. I do that every week. I got to clear that word.
No, you've been catching it lately, but I'm just helping you out here. Description.
Yeah, so in the description of wherever you're watching us or you're hearing us, there's a link in the description that is guaranteed to help you. And it's free. Also, wherever you're watching us or listening to us, make sure you subscribe. If you want to be part of our podcast and have questions or would like to talk about whatever we're talking about on the topic, you can go to Facebook or YouTube. We're also on Twitter, but I don't think too many people watch us on Twitter. But you can, while we're recording the show, we do it 9:30 Eastern Standard Time every Thursday morning, because I know there's other better times for other people to listen, but we're just pre-recording this, and then this Thursday morning records, and then we release the podcast on Mondays. Mm-hmm. So you can go there and be part of our conversation if you so desire. Also, if you have questions about anything that you want, well, first of all, if you go to WhatsApp Messenger and look up Let's Talk Real Estate, we have a free group you can get involved in there, and you can ask questions during the week. Or if you want to speak to me personally, you can do that by going to flippinghousesforrookies.com and go to the support link on the top right-hand page, and I answer all the support tickets myself. Okay, so we've gotten through that. Let's move on. Today's podcast. So, Pete, I threw around some powerful promises in today's title and description.
You stepped in it there, Mr. Hawthorne.
And here's why. Many folks who get attached to creative real estate do things completely backwards. I want to say ass backwards is what I want to say. And set things up for failure and don't even know they're doing it.
Oh, boy.
Even me. Here's what I mean. They start by focusing on all their energy on learning techniques. They start by focusing all their energy on learning techniques, like deal structuring, scripts, even paperwork. They're worried about things that don't need to be worried about because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And avoiding what is going to make the gargantuan profits quickly and easily, perhaps even retire quickly. So they're so wrapped up in all the techniques and all the shiny objects and all that kind of stuff that they're actually avoiding what's going to make them the gargantuan profits. So let's start off with decision making. And to be cute about it, I want to make a point and hit a home run on what I'm talking about. So what I'm talking about is making decisions. So what I'm talking about, I'm going to give a couple kind of have as answers results here, but what I'm talking about is making a decision when you're not qualified to make a decision.
Really?
Yeah, because you're making a decision. It's like being in kindergarten and making a decision on what college you're going to go to.
Yeah.
Okay. Or as a 5-year-old, you decide you don't like boys or you don't like girls. And you know it's foolish because it's going to change later on.
Well, that's normal to do that. That's how it starts.
That's what I'm saying. So how about this? When you're a teenager, you decide who your boss is going to be at age 40. Right? Or when you're in your 20s, you think you know everything about life, right? Without truly experiencing real resistance.
Yeah, there's that old story that the child doesn't appreciate the parents and thinks how stupid they are when he's 20. Then when he's 40, he looks back and, boy, my parents are pretty smart.
Yeah, exactly. So
my kids are around 40. I hope they're catching up. I think they are.
So my point, like I said before, is sometimes you can't make a solid, good decision unless you have all of the facts, right? Or experience that gives you more facts, good or bad.
Which you don't have when we're starting out. So we're making lots of decisions of what we think we should do.
Right.
And you're saying we're on the wrong track in the beginning a lot.
Right. So it's like a blind spot that you don't have. You can't see about it. It's kind of like a horse with the blinders on, you know? Yeah. They put those things on the side of his eyes so he can't look left or right. He's just got to go straight.
Yep.
Right. It's kind of like that. It's like that's what I mean with the blinders on. You can't see things you should see because you don't know they're there.
And you're trying real hard. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll go to another seminar.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go to the RIA. I'll get another book. I'll look online. I'll look at the MLS. I'll.
All technique stuff. That's all technique stuff. It's the wrong decisions. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I used to fly 40 weeks a year. You know that. For 6 years, I traveled 40 weeks a year. So I was on an airplane almost weekly, 3 or 4 times. Okay. I don't know where that cough came from today. So here's something that I noticed. So you're on an airplane and you're on the runway. What can you see out the windows?
Yeah, the tarmac and some of the grass on the side and those bushes at the other end. That's it.
or buildings around or a highway, whatever, right? And then
Yep.
the plane takes off, and then at 10,000 feet, what can you see then? And then at 30,000 feet, what can you see then?
Yeah.
Right. So, uh, there you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what it's like when you're in any new thing.
Sure.
At first, you don't know what's going on. So, here's my point today. So, the most important decision you'll make when starting out in creative real estate is not what farm area, type of house, or even what super duper deal structure you could use, or even a script to mesmerize or hypnotize your seller into giving you a deal. It's not that. The battle to be won with creative real estate, or any business for that fact, is done on the day you decide to pick your market. Pick the person that you're going to try to talk to. And a successful market determines who. We're back to who again.
Yeah.
Successful market determines who you choose to speak to, and not what you say or how you do the deals.
Do you mean what category of person? Like what types of customers you're looking for? Is that what you mean? What types?
So, to make it easier, it's not exactly what I mean, but it'll give you a better idea. So it's the situations we're looking in. Who has a specific situation that would make them or create them or push them to being motivated?
Right. Yeah, that's what I think I'm trying to ask. Like, because you're not talking about what specific person, we don't know.
Right.
But what situation, what type of person, that's a good way to explain it. Because, it's not, and we've been talking about that a little bit. I've been thinking a lot about that. It's not just sellers. There's all kinds of people, which I'm sure you're going to get into. But there's all kinds of types of things going on, like restaurants. Let's go eat. There's lots of different types of restaurants, Chinese and all that stuff. And then there's different types of situations. There's different types of properties, multifamilies, condos, houses, all kinds of things. All right. I think I'm tracking.
Good. So here's something that I talked about on my monthly meetup, my free monthly meetup last night, which is a free Zoom call. If you're on meetup.com, or if you're in my email list, on my email list, you'll know about this meetup because I send a dozen emails the week before, right?
Yep.
So last night I made this comment, which I have made before, but I'm going to make it again because it's very important to understand. When you're in the ugly house business, you deal with the physical universe. You deal with the house and all of the physical universe bullshit. It's all about the house, the construction, the kitchen, all the stuff that doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right? So what happens is there music playing somewhere? Do I have it back?
I didn't shut the door to my office when I came in. I leave it on to keep the dog. Want me to go shut the door?
Oh, no, that's okay. I just want to make sure there wasn't some.
It's my little thing going, and it's the bridge over troubled water. The guy's belting it out, and all of a sudden it got loud. It'll get quieter when he stops singing.
I just want to make sure I didn't have something else happening in my end.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So
that's okay. I'm sorry. I didn't close my door.
So here's what happens when you're dealing with ugly houses. You're dealing with the physical aspect, the material universe.
Yeah, it's the material stuff.
The things that don't think. The things that have no life. You have to animate them.
Yep.
When you're dealing with pretty houses, you don't care about the houses. It's the paper that's attached to the houses. It's about controlling the ownership of the house. It's not controlling the physical property. It's about controlling the ownership. So it's all about the subjective realities of the owners. Do they think this is a good thing to have or a bad thing? Yeah, you should go shut your door.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So is this a good thing to have? I'm going to keep talking. Is this a good thing to have, or is this a bad thing to have? Right? So you're dealing with subjective, meaning thoughts or things in your mind or in the seller's mind. Okay? You're not dealing with the physical universe. You're dealing with what people think and how they react. You're dealing with, oh my goodness.
Okay.
Okay, good. So you're dealing with the way people think, and you're dealing with the way people's emotions are. You're dealing with the and that's a better way to put it, the emotional aspect of the deal.
You know what that makes me think of? When the house is like really banged up, because we've had those houses. That's the problem. If the house is not banged up and not the problem, what is the problem?
Right.
Something with the person and their lives. Something. Because at the house is fine.
Good. So what happens is too many people, to your point, too many people when they first start will go after things like vacant houses and try to wholesale them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they think that so I'm being very profound here. So your universe, your surroundings, when I say universe, I mean the thing that where you live, the things around you in the physical world.
Yep.
Or in your own head. That's your universe, right? Your world, your life, your house, your bedroom, your office, your car are all direct, like a straight wire to what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a nice organized area, you have nice organized thoughts. If you're a slob and got shit all over the place, then you're dispersed. Your thoughts are dispersed. So your physical surroundings are a mirror of your mind. How you control your mind.
Yeah. Right. Sure. So makes sense.
It's the same way with the real estate. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's what people think, is that because the house is vacant, that there's a situation there. So what happens is, because they don't understand this concept of ugly and pretty houses, that they're trying to use the ugly house scenario to find the problem, because they don't know how to find problems. So what I'm proposing to you today is that we in the beginning at least make it so that when we get up to bat, we can hit a home run once in a while. If we don't get up to bat, then we aren't going to hit home runs. Right? Mm-hmm. So let's continue.
Yeah.
So you choose to, so who you choose to speak to, not what you say or how you do deals, is very important. So you have to think about this before you jump into real estate. Right? Here's why. Even if you suck at almost everything, which, oh yeah, by the way, in the beginning, you are going to suck at everything. Okay? You remember when you were being potty trained? Yeah. Okay. You remember when you drove your first car? Yeah. You remember your first date? Yeah. Remember the first time you had sex? Yeah. You sucked at all of it. Mm-hmm. Okay? But you got better.
Yep.
If you are able to put yourself in a road of success, you will learn quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm going to go over this in a minute, but the right motivated seller will excuse the mistakes and let you continue while you learn, as long as they feel like you're helping them. Mm-hmm. And as long as they feel like you're honest. And as long as they feel like you care about them.
Right.
Which is why we talk a lot about the servant personality. You know, we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. So So the who is the market you need to choose and talk to and do deals with.
Yep.
And here is the secret. Some markets or who's are hard. And some markets or who's are easy.
Mm.
And we don't think of that. We don't think of when we first get in, the rookie gets into the deal, like, where is the easy market? You might think that by looking at a vacant house, but if you didn't do what I just talked about and distinguish the difference between ugly and all, like physical universe stuff, right? Because, oh yeah, by the way, Peter, I haven't said this in a while, so let me make sure I say it right now.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of closings. And I've never seen a house sign the documents.
Yeah, you haven't said that in a while. That's true.
So why are we looking for houses? Because houses don't transfer ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Owners do. So why are we looking for houses? We're
Yeah,
looking.
You don't have to convince the house. You got to convince the seller to give you the house, or the paperwork.
Or you don't even have to convince them. Find the seller that's willing to throw the house at you because they just don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Even better.
Right? So
they're looking for you. Who
right.
will take this house from me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. They're looking for you. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, they're looking. They wish they could find somebody who would buy the house.
That's the path of progress that I'm talking about. When you're on that path, when you're walking down the right road, they fall in the middle of the road and say, take me, take me, take me, take me.
Mm-hmm. It's like a Henny Youngman joke. Take my house, please.
Right.
But I'm boom.
Right. Common sense will tell us if you want to make maximum profit in the minimum amount of time, you go after the easy markets or the easy who's.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by easy markets?
Mm.
So I have, I think, 3 things here. So 1, they can be reached.
Okay.
I don't mean texting them. I mean like have a conversation, 2-way communication about the problem, the situation. They're willing to talk about their problem. They're not trying to hide stuff from you so they can make more money.
Right.
There's a need. They have a need.
And that need's more important than a few extra dollars.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But yes, they're not fixated on the house. They're fixated on the subjective feeling of what this house is creating for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? Number 2, like I just said, they will have a burning need for what you have to offer. Number 3, their situation. Now listen to this, because this is important. This is what most people try to do and fail at. Their situation has demonstrated through past behavior they are likely to want help.
Wait, say that again?
Yep. So their situation has demonstrated through past behavior they are likely to want help and will be flexible enough to consider your solutions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is where people are past behavior, like a vacant house. They figure that's past behavior. Well, they don't care about the house. Why don't they give it to me? Right? Divorce, that's past behavior. Right? Those kind of things. Foreclosure is another one.
So something happened with a certain group of people that puts them in a situation where they should need to do something, whether they realize it or not. And there'll come a moment like they have to do something.
Right. So if we had to group it, the manifestations, meaning the end results or the final results of the situations, will tell you what kind of situation they have.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a vacant house, that's one kind of situation. Yeah. If they're behind on their mortgage, that's another type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
If they're getting divorced, that's a different type of situation.
Yeah.
So the end result, the thing that you can see, is just the epicenter, if you would, right, of what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
It's kind of like having one of those metal detectors and going around looking for something.
Sure.
Now, too many real estate beginners get tripped up here. Right at this point.
Yeah.
Because this is the decision I'm talking about in the beginning. Right? You're too worried about technique. Like, what am I going to say to the seller when I talk to them? I have the perfect script. You ready?
Yeah.
Hello. Do you have a house? Did you have a house for? Well, first of all, do you own a house?
Yeah.
And is it for sale?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. How much are you asking for it? And you're into it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And one of the biggest questions that we've been asking recently, because one of the things that I've been running into, I know you have been too, is we're not spending enough time trying to find out what the situation is.
Yeah.
So you came up with a genius question. I can't take credit for this at all. What's more important to you, selling quickly or making more money?
I came up with that. That was me.
Yeah. Well, I took your sentence and my sentence and put them together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now watch this. When you ask somebody what's more important to you, selling quickly
Mm-hmm.
or making more money, selling quickly means they have a problem. It's a subjective pressure. It's stress in their mind.
Yep.
When you say make more money, that walks you into, okay, so they want greed.
Yep.
And what you got to do is you got to feed their greed glands.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, you could do it either way. But one of the things that you can start off with, well, if you want to make more money, the best way I know to do it is to make monthly payments until we can pay you off. Can we talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. It's not too hard.
Yeah, it's like, who makes more money? The bank or the guy who gets the mortgage? Well, the bank. Well, how they do that? Oh, they have mortgage for 30 years. So there's time involved. They don't lend the money. They don't lend the money today and get paid the next week. They wait and wait and wait, stretch it out and get more and more and more that way. That's how banks do it.
Yep.
They're patient. They wait and they make more money.
So I don't know who 710 Oil is, but they said cheers.
No, wait a minute. Bill, look. 710 is oil upside down. The numbers, you turn it upside down, it spells oil.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if that's relevant or just clever, but thank you.
Good for spotting that. So anyways, this goes back to my original statement.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to deal with real estate or do you want to deal with the paper? Because I always have said since day one, there's more money in the money than the real estate. So what do banks' connection to real estate do? Real estate is a way for the bank to write a loan because the person wants to live there or wants to make money from it or whatever. The person wants it enough that they're willing to go through the bank's bullshit to get the money.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. Stop the music for a second. Let's have a moment of silence here. Okay? Here's my point. You borrow $100,000 and you pay a 30-year mortgage. And I used to do this in the seminar. So if you bought a house, well, let's do it with you, Peter. How much did you pay for your? Well, I can't do it with you because you own your house.
No, I'll act stupid. Go ahead.
Okay. So
it's ignorant.
How much did you pay for your house?
$40,000.
$40,000. Okay. Did you have monthly payments on it? Do you have monthly payments on it?
Yeah.
For how long? For how long?
It was 30 years.
Okay. So how much were your monthly payments?
$245.
$245,000. Is that taxes and insurance too?
No, that was separate.
Okay. So $245 per month. Mm-hmm. Let's do the math. Times 360 payments, right?
That's right.
You paid $88,200 for it.
What? Man.
The point is that people say, how much did you pay for your house? And they're like, at the sale. No, you didn't pay for it. You borrowed the money.
You're not done paying yet.
The bank paid $44,000 for the house. They're allowing you to live in it, and you're paying the bank. So always, if you bought a $100,000 house and took a 30-year mortgage, it's likely you paid $250,000 for that house.
Yeah.
It's usually about 1.5 to 2 times what you pay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes on bigger houses, it's 3 times.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, by the way, it depends on what the interest rate is, because now interest rate is going up. So if the interest rate is going up to 6 and 7 and 8%, it's closer to 3 times what you pay for the house.
That's right.
Now, does the bank care about that house? Only to the degree that you want it and need to borrow money from them.
Mm-hmm.
So the money is in the money. They lend you the money, and if you don't pay them, they take the house back. That's called collateral.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into this now, but if you go watch the video on YouTube called The Creature from Jekyll Island, Jekyll Island is an island off the coast of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early 1900s, the powers to be, I think there was 13 of them, met on this island and created our monetary system, meaning our money system. And they did things like the Federal Reserve is not a government-owned entity. They own it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Congress people create fiat money. Fiat money means there's a law that you have to use that money. If you use any other money in the United States, you could be put in jail. Right? So they created all of this wealth. So our money system is fake. Okay? The reason why they have money, when they took the gold standard off of money, what backs our money? What backs gold no longer backs it, because they were printing too much money, didn't have enough gold. So now debt backs our money. Debt. So the more debt they make, the more money they can print.
I've never heard it said like that. Is that really a thing, that the debt backs it? I mean, that's like a negative thing for a positive thing. It's like, doesn't even make sense.
Go watch The Creature from Jekyll Island. He'll talk about it.
Yeah, I know the basic data, but I never heard you point it out that little bit. That's just really crazy.
So the debt is controlling the money, because the more debt we have, I mean, they call it things like T-bills. You know what a T-bill is? A bunch of mortgages. Mm. So our monetary system is backed by real estate. Now, here's the point of all this. Way off on a tangent this morning. You borrow $100,000 from the bank. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, ask this question: if they print $1 billion or $1 trillion or $1 million, whatever, say $1 million, they print $1 million. The printing presses have $1 million on skids in the warehouse. Mm-hmm. How do they get that cash out into the world? How does it get distributed?
Oh, well, they go door to door and they hand us wads of cash.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I wish.
I've never had that knock at my door.
Okay? Right. Ding dong.
So here's what happens. They do it a couple different ways. One of the ways they do it is they use it for college money, for college loans. Another way they do it is with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, which is a lot of like big commercial buildings, 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, apartment buildings, commercial buildings. Mm-hmm. The other way they do it is that when your local bank puts together a loan, we'll say for $100,000, it's called page 38, because there's 37 documents in most mortgages. They add a page to the mortgage that tenfies it. So if they're giving you a $100,000 mortgage, the bank is paying $100,000. The government will give them $1 million for that $100,000 note. and they shipped them $1 million. So when you go through foreclosure, do you really owe the money?
The poor bank is out $48,000 plus the 900,000 that they already got. Poor bank. Feels so bad.
So just go watch The Creature from Jekyll Island. I'm not doing this any justice, but the point is that it's a scam.
Yeah.
The real point that I'm trying to make is the money is in the money, because why would these guys in the early 1900s, these bankers, which by the way, it was Big Mike's in the room. Hello, Mike. You want to see it again?
Mm-hmm.
So, why would I lost my train of thought? Why would the bank not want you to buy real estate?
Oh, they not?
Right. They want you. The bank's plan, 34% of the country is free and clear, don't have a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
The bank has departments that are targeting that 34%. They do not want free and clear property. They want those people to pay them interest. That's how they make money.
Bill, my son worked at the bank as a teller. They hounded him every day to sell mortgages and loans. And he was so annoyed he quit. He wanted to be a teller it was when he was a kid. They didn't care about that. They just wanted, money, and that's how they get it, interest. So they're pushing loans and mortgages.
Right.
I mean, you almost can't blame them, but maybe there's a nicer way. Why can't we just buy a house, give the guy $10,000 down, and make payments to the guy?
Right. We do that.
Yeah, we do.
So here's all this whole long, crazy story is all about, is the money is in the money.
Mm.
So what happens is because first of all, do you think the Rockefellers and the Childresses and the Chase Banks and American National, you think they want you to know this?
Bill, I don't think they even care anymore, because we do know it. The movie's out there. People don't bother. So they don't even have to worry about us, because you're just sitting around like, I don't know.
Exactly. So as an investor, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be the bank, or do you want to be the handyman guy that goes and fixes the house up to make a measly $10,000 or $20,000?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not making $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 light, but Peter, how hard do you work when we do a flip? A rehab, retail?
Mm-hmm.
It took me years to get you broken from that bad habit. I kept telling you, why are we doing this? This is too hard. I'll do the work, Bill. Now you're 71 years old.
Mm-hmm.
72. Okay. Oh, that's right. Your birthday. I said it to Pamela this morning.
You owe me a present.
I do actually, and I'm going to go get one today, because I'm going to get my daughter a gift.
I don't want a book.
You know,
I want a present, not a book.
What do you want?
I need a hose reel.
Okay. The one like I got?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. When do you want to come and get it?
When you get it, you get it, I'll get it.
Olmec says, "Hey everyone." You know what I got to say to Olmec? Hey, you crazy real estate, you crazy. Well, I said it wrong. Thanks for being here, Olmec. Only us crazy people that do real estate are here. That's what I meant to say. So, why are you going to look for houses? You don't want houses. You want money. So why not go look for the money?
Well, Bill, let's tell the folks this way. You can make money by fixing the house, working on the house material-wise, or you can make money working on the paperwork. Work on the house, work on the paperwork. Work on the house, work on the paperwork.
Good
right?
point.
That's it. Work on the house, work on the paperwork.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, the word easy. So I said you go after easy markets, right? Let me go back. Let me back up. Let me find it in my notes.
Mm-hmm.
So Some markets or whos are hard,
Mm.
and some markets or whos are easy.
Yeah.
Right? Or let me change the words to make it easier. Some markets or sellers are hard. Some markets or sellers are easy.
Yeah.
So now we're at the word easy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about easy to talk to once you locate them. I'm not talking about easy to locate them.
Mm.
Let me give you an example. And Peter, you 1000% provoked this because of some of the things, some of your demands upon me lately.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me give you an example. Foreclosure
Mm-hmm.
is a common market that comes to mind when talking about who needs to sell a house.
Yep.
But, and you're teaching me this. This is not me, folks. This is Peter. And we have help from Jay Connor, who we had on a couple weeks ago, and I think I'm going to try to get him back on in August.
Mm-hmm.
Foreclosure. But if you're planning to go online and purchase a list, you've already lost. You've already lost before you started.
Mm.
And Jay Connor brought this to our attention when we were at a convention.
Yeah.
This is like getting a stock tip after all the money's made. You're too late. Like your buddy says, "Oh man, you got to buy this stock." So
it's really hot.
Yeah, if you're at that point in the chain, you're getting that common knowledge that you think is not common, that you have like the insider chip, but it was really just common knowledge because everybody knows it,
Mm-hmm.
except you didn't know it, so you think it's important information. Truth is, all the big boys made their money already, and they're on to another one.
Yeah.
The only way to do this is go down to the courthouse and get the present time situation with your seller, because it was brought to our attention that the online services are way behind on where the situation is. So you're going to go get foreclosure information, but it's old information, just like that old stock tip.
Yeah. Or you'll get the list of sales, and everybody else shows up, and like who likes auctions? You know. Oh.
Well, what brings this about is because with COVID and this big, what do you call it? This big fat market that we have, this extended market, this bubble we're in. Those houses are already sold. Somebody already bought those foreclosed houses. The people that went to the courthouse are the people who know how to get the information before you.
Yeah.
Right. Say there's 10 places to get information. One is the soonest on the chain. 10 is the latest on the chain.
And that's also the easiest one, late on the chain.
That's
the one at the very beginning is harder. There's more work to get that.
There you go.
Yeah. But you want to be 10 people in the house trying to buy it, or just you?
Right. Probate is another hard to find, easy to talk to seller. There is no probate lists. There are none. PropStream has a deceased list, but it's not a probate list. How do you get probate? You go to the court and you look for the files. Very, very labor intensive. And oh yeah, by the way, you're not doing that across the country unless you've got an ant farm that goes and gets them for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the magic of this secret little system. If you offer the right solution, now you should write this down. I'm going to say it 2 or 3 times so you can write it down. So get paper and pencil. If you're not doing that right now, you're one of those that think you already know it and your checkbook shows different. Because if you already knew it, you'd have a big fat checkbook and you'd be doing a lot of deals. So if you think anything I'm talking about today you already know, and you don't have a big fat checkbook because you're doing it, then you better rethink your mind process. Here we go. If you offer the right solution to the right seller at the right time, The offer could be written on an old paper bag in crayon, and they will do it.
That's right.
If, and it seems simple, you might think you already know this. It might be like, of course I knew that, Bill, right? But if you know this, then you should be a multimillionaire with a lot of properties and retired and doing whatever the hell you want. If you offer the right solution to the right seller at the right time, the offer can be written on an old paper bag and crayon, and they will do the deal. That is how important talking to the right seller can be. If you're out there right now listening to me and Peter and I should say, and you're not doing deals, there's something wrong with the way you're looking for deals. You're not doing what we're talking about today. You're not thinking outside of the box, like, who's the easiest person for me to talk to? I have very little education. I have not spent any money. I'm one of those freebie guys that listen to us on the podcast or go get free courses, and you're trying to learn how to get a doctor's pay without getting an education. And you're wondering why it takes you 6, 7, 8, 9 years. You've been studying it for 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and you've done one deal or no deal. The reason why is because of what I just explained to you. If you offer the right solution to the right seller at the right time, the offer can be written on an old paper bag and crayon, and they'll do it. That's a promise.
Bill, you know what this reminds me of? Something you said a ways back. In an easy market, it's not too hard to find a property, fix it up, sell it, make a profit, find another property, fix it up, in an easy market. And guys like that get kind of spoiled. And when things get harder, like it's been lately with all the crazy stuff we've been through, the old tricks don't work. So part of what I'm noticing we're paying attention to is the timing, like today, what's going on, because what worked last year or the year before, it's a different market right now. So we have to be on our toes in the present, looking at the scene as to what we should be doing now.
Right.
That's like you're saying, like timing. That makes me look at the slightly bigger picture, because it's easy. This is a dig. But how many girls do this? My wife will do this. Hey, the car's not working. What's the matter? I don't know. It was working yesterday. Right. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It broke today. It's okay.
Or there were tell signs yesterday and the day before, and she ignored them.
That's right.
Or it doesn't have to be a woman, but anyways, you're right.
Yeah, you smell something funny, like you gotta pay attention to it.
So I want to give credit where credit is due. This whole if offers the right solution to the right seller to the right time, I got that from Ken McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big marketing guy. I follow him, so I got that from one of his books. So now, how important it is to talk to the right person. Doing creative real estate this way is not uncommon to find tiny 1 and 2 person teams doing 6 and 7 figures annually from a modest low overhead home office.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Doing creative real estate this way is not uncommon to find tiny 1 and 2 person teams doing 6 and 7 figures annually from a modest low overhead home office. It's because they know where to go. They know what the path of progress is. They know where to put themselves, who to put themselves in front of for the most success, the easiest path to take, the least resistance, right? That's called invalidating resistance. Invalidating resistance. Finding the right who market is life is like finding a little oil well pumping out monthly cash for its owner.
That's all it takes. Doesn't have to be a huge one every once in a while, just one that's always working, nice and steady.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last thing I would like to touch on before we scoot out of here today. If you focus on the real estate, like we've already talked about, and its value plus selling your seller on your ideas or what you think, even if you're dead right, you will lose every time. Lately, it's been horrible how far we have come from basics because of this bubble. On my coaching calls, in my private sessions, when I talk to you, even me, I go back to listen to some of my recordings and I'm not doing the basics because the sellers are down outright rude, cocky, mean, and they suck because they think they have the torch and they're going to lead the way. And that is changing as we speak. Okay? You need to focus on. So when I'm talking about giving sellers your idea, I'm talking about not using the Socratic method. Socratic method is asking questions. We went over that in other podcasts.
Yeah, right? From Socrates.
From Socrates. The Socratic method is asking questions. So what happens is too many of us will come along and study my system or somebody else's system, and we call it giving the seller a seminar. In other words, you're telling the seller what you can do, and because you're new and you haven't done enough deals, you're very limited on your experience, and you don't know what to do. So you're telling them only what you think you should do. You're acting like the professional, and you're not the professional yet.
Yeah.
Instead of saying to the seller, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? And then go figure it out. That's the way you're going to learn how to do real estate. Is say, Peter, what would have to happen for me to buy your house today? Well, okay, I will take $300,000 for my $300,000 house. Well, go figure out if you can do that. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I could tell you right now, I might pay $325,000 for Peter's $300,000 house. Because the reason why is because if the seller's stuck on price, my favorite saying, unless I haven't said in a long time, I'll pay any price for a house as long as I get to pick the terms. Because maybe Peter's house is free and clear, and I could pay principal-only payments, and I could make that a $200,000 deal.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
You need to focus on serving your seller with authentic help. Your job is to serve the seller, not give them solutions. Now, we did this, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent on this, but we did this last podcast, and we did this last night. It's amazing to me what people think an offer is. An offer is nothing more than a proposal or a suggestion of a plan. That's all an offer is. It's not something in writing. It has nothing to do with numbers most of the time. An offer is just a suggestion. Would you take monthly payments? Would you go 10 years? Would you sell for $250,000 instead of $300,000? Those are all offers. And it doesn't always have numbers in it. It's a suggestion of a plan that you could take so they can get rid of their situation.
I like this, the end part of the definition. You pulled it up the other night in our coaching call. We talked about it a little bit, but I like the end almost as much as the beginning because it said open to discussion or negotiation. It means, you don't know what the offer is going to be in the beginning. You have to start somewhere and move it around until you find the spot that it works or not.
Right.
But you can't take a wild guess and hope you hit the nail on the head, throw the axe at the target. You got to ask and discuss, negotiate. And it's interesting because you do this way better than I do. I don't even think of it half the time. You just ask, would you go 10 years? There's no money involved in that. There's no number. Would you take payments? Like you didn't say what the payment is. What if I gave you this much down and paid your mortgage? How much the mortgage is another question. But just if the idea, are they willing to do some type of thing and then figure out the detailed numbers? But just even the type of things, if they're willing to do like that ballpark, are you in that ballpark or not? So
Right.
it's very clever.
My number starts with a 6. My number starts with a 5. My number starts with a 10. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah, I had somebody say that to me once on the other end, like, "Oh, that's interesting." They've heard that.
So, Mary, this is not a place. She said, "Good morning, and how can I get started in real estate?" You can get started in real estate by making an offer. If you go to Flipping Houses for Rookies, there's a lot of materials there for you. You can get started there. Okay.
Yeah, go to our website.
So the complete secret system in creative real estate is find your market first, who wants or needs your solutions, then figure out how to serve that seller so you and your help have a high perceived value in the seller's mind. My God, Peter, that should, if I had anything, you should put that on my tombstone when I go down.
Okay, leave instructions.
So the complete secret in creative real estate is find your market first. Who wants or needs your situation? I mean, your solutions. Then figure out how to serve that seller so you and your help, your ability to help, have a high perceived value in the seller's mind. See, here's what happened. Here's where it went awry. There are so many of us during the pandemic because because it's hard to find sellers. There's too much money, not enough houses. That's called inflation. You have one house and 20 buyers, means the price goes up.
Yep.
Okay. Listen to what I'm telling you. The seller doesn't have a high perceived value of you and your solution. Because if you don't give me what I want, I'll just go to the next person in line. Out, you're out. It's kind of like being at the nightclub in the purple velvet ropes and getting to the bouncer, and he's like, "I don't like your hair color. You're not going in." Right? Same thing.
Yep.
Here's the amazing news. Because I've been doing this for 30 years, 21 plus years full time. Here's the amazing news. Down markets are always much longer than up markets. So we've had an up market for, we'll say, 2 years.
Yep.
The down market is upon us because I talk to sellers every day. It is here right now. This is no bullshit, boys and girls. Now is the time. If you're going to do creative real estate, now is the time. And I don't mean like today. I mean by the time we get to the third and fourth quarter of 2022, it's going to be unbelievable. So do your study now, do your practice now, do whatever you got to do to get in that position of progress. But it's going to last for more than 2 years. So, for example, the foreclosure market. Don't try to buy the house. Now, you're teaching this to me, Peter. This is Peter's stuff now. This is not Bill. This is not Bill. This is Peter's stuff. Don't try to buy the house. Instead, help the homeowner understand the foreclosure process. Help them be at cause about their situation instead of total effect. Give them insight, guidance, and someone to talk to about what's happening. Believe me when I say the most successful creative real estate entrepreneurs are good at one thing: observing the obvious. And coming up with a winning solution is no more complicated than fixing holes in a road. Here's how roadwork repair works. If we were to use this analogy for our process. Walk down the road, or walking down the road is the discovery process. You're just walking down the road and you're observing the obvious.
Yeah.
Doing this while talking with your sellers. Find the potholes as you walk down the road that need to be patched.
Mm-hmm.
That's discovering what sellers are going through.
Yeah.
Or giving them a hard time. The potholes as you're walking down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Filling the holes is creating solutions for the seller's problem.
I got kicked out of the whole end of the podcast. I don't hear you right. I'm not hearing you right now. No. Why can't I hear you? Do you hear me? No, you hear me, but I don't hear you.
about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay. Wow, my whole computer just crashed.
Oh, you crashed?
Yeah, the computer just crashed. It, like, all of a sudden, like, there was nothing there. It's still doing something. I don't know what it is.
So is this your other computer right now?
Yeah, fortunately, I keep a spare computer on my desk, and I just opened up my computer and off I went. So sorry about
Yeah.
that, folks.
Well, yeah, I guess. So that was the end of the podcast?
So no, we're still recording. We're still live.
Oh, we're still
Yeah, we're still live.
edit.
So so Peter has been in real estate for 7 or 8 years. You're asking how long you've been in real estate?
Yep.
And there's no sound, but we're back, so hopefully that's okay. So let's just finish up because we only have a couple more minutes here. So I'm just going to start from the top of this page here. So believe it or not, believe me when I say it, the most successful creative real estate entrepreneur are good at one thing. And I was talking about this, observing the obvious and coming up with winning solutions is no more complicated than fixing a hole in a road. Holes in a road.
Mhm.
Here's how a road repair works. If we use this analogy for our process, walking the road is our discovery process, doing this whole talking while talking to your seller, right?
Yeah.
Finding the potholes as you walk down a patch of road is discovering what sellers are going through or giving them a hard time in life about.
Mm-hmm.
Filling the holes is creating solutions for the seller's problems and helps satisfy the specific needs of your seller and how valuable you are to them.
Yeah, makes sense.
So picture you and your seller walking down a road. Let's say you're on a road. I don't know. I can picture one like in the woods somewhere, a paved road, and you're going to like some log cabin in the woods, right? And you and your seller are walking down the road, and you're talking to one another, and the seller says to you, "Look at that pothole, man! If my wife hits that thing, oh man, she's going to kill my car."
Yeah.
And there you go. You talk about that pothole. Okay, good. So what kind of car does she drive, or whatever you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
You walk a little bit further, and the seller says, "Oh man, there's another pothole over there," right? And then you finally get to the cabin, and what do you have? You have a list of the potholes.
Mm-hmm.
So you say to the guy, "Hey, listen," or the girl, "Hey, listen, how about if I were to help you with those potholes? Could we make a deal?" By the way, talking to sellers like this, as a servant, and I don't mean like a slave servant, something like that. I'm just talking about serving, your solutions helping them,
Mm-hmm.
right? As a servant to their needs will give you the exact knowledge that is needed for what's missing for sellers. And it becomes a clear blueprint that teaches you how to make creative real estate gargantuan profits. See, the funny thing is it's ass backwards because most creative real estate investors, when they start off, want to go learn everything. And the most important teacher they should listen to is the person that's going to pay them. And that is the seller, because the seller is going to give them equity or discounts so that they can get the deal. Right? So it's important. So who should train you? Who should train you is the seller. Not me, not somebody else, not $30,000 coach. It should be the seller. You should talk to your seller and find out what they want and then go learn how to do that. And
yeah, there's so many things I can come up with a seller. We could be here for 10 podcasts listing all the things that could happen, and then you go to the next guy and it's something else. It's just it's life, It's talking to people, it's listening.
So the most important thing you could do is find your seller. So easy markets are sellers sellers that are willing to talk to you about their problems. Old school, tired and tested. Thank you guys for your great content. What paperwork do we need? just to get the property under contract. So here we go. We just did a whole hour podcast, and he asked the wrong question. What paperwork do you need? He didn't even get the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So old school, here's the deal. Your thinking's backwards. If you get a deal, call an attorney, have them do the paperwork for you. Why are you worried about paperwork?
Mm-hmm.
You need to talk to a seller and find somebody that's willing to do this. And then just go hire a professional. You hire a professional the first couple times, a lawyer or a closing agent to do your paperwork, and then you have the paperwork, and then you know what paperwork to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just outsource that. And by the way, the answer to the question is it depends on what kind of a deal. If you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com and you go under the tab on the top that says courses, all that stuff is there for you.
Yeah. Also, old school, you probably asked the wrong question. He might not have said contract. Old school, mister. If you ask how to get the property under control before you buy it, not the contract, just get it under control. That's an easier question. And that also is in the paperwork, just to get it. So
the three common things we use is a memorandum, we use a purchase and sales agreement, or an option agreement. Those are the three common ones to get under the contract.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to end off because I disappeared for 5 minutes, so we're at 1 hour and 15 minutes. Just walk the road with your seller, look for those holes, and the seller will just tell you what they need and want. Once they know what they need and want, you go figure it out, which, by the way, Peter came up with many years ago. It's not hard to just say to your seller, gee, I don't know how to do that, but I have some friends that do. Let me go ask them and see what they say. And of course, if you're in my WhatsApp group, Let's Talk Real Estate, or if you go to my support system and send me support, or Bigger Pockets, or anywhere you want to go, there's plenty of places you can go to get an answer. Right? I mean, I help a lot of people with that. Right?
That's right.
Done this way, like I said, you can invalidate and ignore all the resistance you have with making huge money with real estate. So you need to invalidate all the resistance, and you need to get the easiest path. And the way to do that is to talk to the right seller. Find and communicate to the right seller. Tell them what you do. I buy houses. Ask them what's needed and wanted, and then provide it. And oh yeah, by the way, when I say provide it, go to one of my 7 offers, because one of my 7 offers will plug in with whatever they need. Even if they want full asking price for the house, we can still make money. Okay? By the way, again, I want to say thank you to Ken McCarthy for some of today's materials, especially the analogy of walking down the road and the saying that I talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There you go. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Sorry about my computer crashing. It's still doing some. I don't even know what it's doing at this point.
Wow.
It's like spinning and doing all kinds of stuff. It's so weird. And I had a consideration this morning that I should reboot the computer before we started. And there's the reason.
You were either right or you somehow spiritually caused it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Bill's on his other little computer. That's why things look different.
So, all right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Make sure you go give us a review. Make sure you like us if you're on Facebook. Make sure you put a comment in about what you thought about the podcast if you're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so when we pop up again, you know we're here. We do every Thursday morning at 9:30. That's probably going to change the first 2 weeks of August because Peter's going away, and I have not yet found somebody to replace Peter. Still working on it, so we'll see what happens. We'll either do some reruns or I'll do a couple by myself or get somebody to be with me. We'll figure it out. So check us out. We're always here Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great week. Go find a deal. Go talk to a seller, man. It's not that hard. Get your education. Over and out.